back
Oh,
on my,
I have to request permission to record from you.
That's all right. I got it. We should be okay.
Okay.
All right. You're all set. Ready when you guys are.
Is Mr. Budson in yet?
He is not. No, I don't see him.
Thank you.
okay, it is 7 p.m. and this is the regular meeting of the South River Board of Education. We will open our meeting as we always do with the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And we're already having problems, I think.
Okay. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On November 12th, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On November 12th, 2020, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, Sentinel. On November 12th, 2020, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Due to the state of emergency declared by the state of New Jersey and the United States government regarding COVID-19, this meeting is being held by way of video conference in order for the Board of Education to conduct its business. This meeting is being conducted virtually, and a link to the meeting invitation has been posted to the district website so the public may join and provide comment. Upon joining the meeting, all participants will have their audio muted. If anyone from the public would like to be recognized during open comment portions of the meeting, they may do so by using the chat feature. Here, members of the public must send their name and address to the meeting host, Brian Dougherty. You will be recognized to speak by the host at the appropriate time, and your audio will be enabled. Participants for open comment will be called in the order that they were received. This meeting is being recorded, and a link to the meeting will be made available on the district website upon completion. Mr. Kokoska, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bazak?
Here.
Mr. Budson?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Here.
Mrs. Lell?
Here.
Mr. Nielsen? I saw him.
Kevin, you're muted.
Unmute.
Here.
Kevin.
Here.
Mr. Rosano?
Here.
Mr. Rashitar?
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Here.
Mrs. Urbanik?
Here.
Ms. Almeida? Is she there?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let it show that Mr. Budson has been excused.
Mr. Budson's here.
Okay, we have the minutes. Oh, did he get in? I am so sorry. I
Okay.
only have limited people that I see
No problem.
on the screen. So under the minutes, we have the September 24th, 2020 regular meeting minutes revised. We have the October 26th, 2020 pre-meeting minutes and the October 29th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion on the minutes?
Move the minutes in accordance with board policies.
Second.
That was a motion by Mr. Nielsen and a second by Mr. Rosano. Are
Correct.
there any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the use of facilities. Mr.
There-
Kokoska.
There are no items on the agenda for this month.
Thank you. And our next item is the financial report. Ms. Lell.
Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the report to the school board secretary and the treasurer of school money for September 2020 be approved, and I so move.
Probably $7,000. Your Dean's carrying a 2-story house. So here's my decision. 100%, let's $7,000.
Second.
That
Am I the only
Motion
one?
by Ms. Lell, a second
Second.
by Mr. Nielsen.
Is anybody else getting that?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes, I got that. Yes, loud and clear. Are there any comments or questions on the financial report? And is that all in favor or roll call?
All in favor?
All in favor.
Oh, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Ms. Zercher.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanik. For this month, I will be presenting my regular monthly report, but also I will ask the board to approve the HIB grade report for 2018-2019 school year. Also approve the school self-assessment for determining grades under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act 2019-2020 school year. And we'll have a presentation of the HIB grade report for school year 2018-2019 and the school self-assessment for determining HIB grades 2019-2020, which will be presented by Ms. Kim Urrutia, our Director of Special Education. I'll begin with my regular monthly report. And I'd like to really begin by just reviewing the correspondence that we recently sent out to the community regarding our change to a remote program. Just to quickly review what is taking place, beginning November 30th, the full district is on remote, either work from home or learn from home, remote instruction from November 30th all the way to December 9th. On December 10th, we have select groups coming in for an opportunity for in-person instruction, and that is our preschool program. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, as well as our special education self-contained classes. Also Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's beginning December 10th. Now, of course, any parents who have children in those programs, preschool or special education self-contained, may continue to opt to have their student learn virtually if that's what they prefer. But those who prefer the in-person programming can participate beginning December 10th for those only. We will also be sending out some notifications to those parents in grades K through 5 who chose in-person programming for second marking period. And we will be sending out some information about what we hope to open is our remote learning center, therefore providing parents with a childcare opportunity if they have children who were scheduled to come to school in person and they do not have the necessary or just a good opportunity for students to do their remote learning at home. They will have the opportunity to come to the school to do that in our remote learning center. So please be on the lookout. We're hoping to get that information out by Wednesday or perhaps on Monday when we return from the Thanksgiving holiday. So please look out for that. Also on my report today, I'd like to talk a bit about Day of Dialogue, which took place this month. Day of Dialogue was an event that our high school students participated in, along with several other high schools and middle schools in Middlesex County. It was a county day for schools to engage in some conversations about race, ethnicity, socioeconomic impact, oppression, unconscious biases, gender, some real difficult topics that sometimes students struggle to articulate in school. And what Day of Dialogue did was give students a lot of support and really prepare them for having difficult conversations in a safe environment and in a way that they could speak freely, but also certainly respectfully. And Day of Dialogue included two components. One was the work that took place with students, and the other was work that took place with a team of staff members, and really helping staff members understand how to continue that type of work and dialogue beyond Day of Dialogue in the same format, by really just setting up parameters for students to be able to speak freely, but in a structured format, in a supportive format, giving students appropriate language, really educating students about what, let's say, unconscious bias might be versus conscious bias, what that might look like in schools. Students engaged in some very honest conversations. I had the opportunity to visit some of the Day of Dialogue activities, and you could see students were, they felt relieved to have some sort of forum to be able to share in this way. They did share respectfully when conversations got just a bit involved and just a bit controversial. The Day of Dialogue facilitators didn't necessarily stop the conversations, but they maybe redirected them again in a way that was safe and appropriate so that students could communicate how they were feeling and what they were thinking, but without really being offensive or hurtful to others. So it was a great experience. We collected feedback from students. They were extremely excited to have been able to participate in this kind of work. And furthermore, they even expressed an interest in wanting to continue this type of work at our high school through maybe a club or other activities that would then spread this type of work amongst their student body and a wider range of students. So Mr. Boucher, their principal, has already met with the group that participated in Day of Dialogue to really see what those kinds of activities could look like and how we can go ahead and take this one day and turn it into more of something that penetrates the climate and culture of the school. And overall, the feedback was very well received about the event, not just from our district, but also from other schools in Middlesex County. So we were very excited about that. So just, please keep listening out for activities and engagements that are going to continue to take place in this regard. And I'm hoping that in the future we can have the students attend a board meeting to speak for themselves about their experiences with Day of Dialogue and also how they have really taken the activities and the leadership they learned through Day of Dialogue and spread it in their high school. And at this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mrs. Urrutia so that she can go over the school self-assessment report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, so this is the 18-19 official grade report and the 19-20 school self-assessment report for this past school year. As mandated by the Commissioner of Education, we are required to submit our HIB grades to the state using the online self-assessment tool. Each school completes their own self-assessment using the 8 core elements, which you'll find on the next slide. HIB programs, approaches, or other initiatives, training on the Board of Ed approved HIB policy, other staff instruction and training programs, curriculum instruction on HIB and related information, HIB personnel, school level HIB incident reporting procedure, the HIB investigation procedure, and the HIB reporting. The score is based on the rubric with ratings 0 through 3, from does not meet the requirements all the way to exceeds the requirements. The school district grade is calculated by averaging the 4 schools. So each school gets their own grade, and then we average the 4 together to get the district grade. The official 2018-19 school district grade is on the screen. We scored, part of it's covered for me. The high school and the middle school both scored a 76, and the elementary school and primary school scored a 77, and that is out of a total of 78. We met or exceeded standards in all of our school buildings. That was for 18-19, and then for 19 and 20, you'll notice that our numbers are exactly the same as they were for the previous year. Part of that reason is due to COVID, and everything kind of remained status quo. The plans that we had made to rectify or remedy some of the loss of points we were unable to do due to the school closure. So these scores stayed exactly the same as they did in the previous year. So all schools met or exceeded the requirements on all 8 of those reporting areas. Accurate investigations and reporting procedures, effective programs offered to students, and ample opportunities to reflect and enhance programs were all commendations for both years, since nothing did change. We plan to meet as a team at a district level to review all of the commendations and the recommendations that we have on the next slide. Our recommendations for this coming year is to ensure the GNC training is consistent with the district procedures and to increase data collection and data analysis. It seems we lost a point across the board for the GNC training since it is not provided by a mental health professional. So we might have to incorporate some additional training at each level to raise that point in that one area, number 3. But our recommendations remain the same because our scores remain the same. So in comparison from 2018 and 19 to 19 and 20, you'll see that everything stayed status quo. And based off these numbers, our district score will remain the 77 as it did the previous year. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Urte. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very well done, Kim. Thank you.
No,
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Good night, Ken.
And finally, tonight, I did want to, as part of my superintendent's report, I did want to add one component that just was released on Friday. We received an updated COVID-19 activity level report for the state of New Jersey. And particularly of interest is our region, which is Central East. And our region, along with most others, are now in what's called the orange color, which is determined to be high risk. And the health department's recommendations based on their risk matrix, this is again from the health department, says that at high risk, schools should consider implementing full remote learning. And then it does provide some guidance. If schools remain open for in-person learning, there are certain guidelines and guidance that are already taking place in our district. And as we discussed at the beginning of my report, in terms of what we've chosen to do in South River Public Schools, is we have gone back to a mostly full remote program with just a few exceptions for our students who really benefit most from in-person learning. And again, that comes from the COVID-19 activity level report, which was for the week ending November 14th. And then the regional risk matrix that provides that guidance from the health department. So those are two other documents I will be adding to our COVID-19 tab on our district website so that you can reference, as well as our community members as well. And so concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zurcher. Is there a motion for the superintendent's report?
Nielsen, move the superintendent's report is read.
Second. I'd like to comment on it.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by
I would
Mr.
like to
Bazak.
comment.
Are there any comments or
Yes,
are there any comments or questions?
I have a comment.
Go right ahead. Who is
I
speaking?
wanted to commend Mrs. Zurcher and the whole district in participating in the Day of Dialogue. I think that as I read it, it should be. It sounds like a major step forward in the maturity and growth of our students, and hopefully, it will prepare them to better enter our society and take away some of the fears that they might have for speaking up and expressing any differences they might have. And I think it was a great program.
Thank you, Mr. Rashtar.
Thank you. Any other board members? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the reception of visitors. So at this time, the meeting is going to be open to the public, and the public may address agenda items only. Please state your name and address in the chat section of the virtual meeting, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute limit. Again, this is for agenda items only. There will be another public session at the end of the meeting to address other Board of Ed items.
I'm not seeing anyone come in at this point.
Okay, seeing nobody. Okay, thank you very much. So we will move this public portion and we will go on to the consent resolution. Mr. Kokoska?
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. Under the superintendent's reports, items 3.2 and 3.3, finance items 8.1 through 8.5, instruction 9.1 through 9.4, policy and legislation 11.1 through 11.3, human resources 12.1 through 12.15, and safety and risk 13.1 through 13.3.
Thank you. Board members, your pleasure on the consent resolution?
Move the consent resolution.
Ken, I have, I need to abstain from 13.2. It's Renee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there a second on that motion?
Nielsen,
Okay, I think I'm gonna need a little help here because my connection seems a little unstable. Who was the maker of that motion?
Mr. Rosanna.
Second by Kevin.
And the second by Mr. Nielsen. Thank you. Are there any questions or abstentions or any other comments?
Mrs. Urbanik, I just have one comment under instruction. Item 9.3, the Ruby program. Mrs. Bush had a question on that program at Monday's meeting. And I'm sorry, at Thursday's meeting. And she had asked if the students had already met in that program. And the answer to that is they met for the first time for a virtual field trip this past Friday, November 20th. So that was the first time that they met in relation to this Ruby program.
Thank you, Ms. Serger.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. If there are no more questions, comments, would you please call the roll?
Bezak?
Mr. Costa.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bezak. Mr. Bezak?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mr. Budson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes, and abstaining from 13.2.
Mrs. Lell?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar?
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. The motion passes. On to our committee reports. As usual, we start with athletics. Mr. Budson.
Nothing new since Thursday.
Thank you. Mr. Nielsen, buildings and grounds.
Thank you, Madam President. As you can see in the Mr. Blas's report, they continue to do everyday items like light bulbs and ballasts being in place. But the custodial staff has also been working nonstop during the school day and after hours to disinfect and sanitize critical areas in the district. So they continue to play a critical role in the distribution of meals and keeping our kids safe. And we thank them for that. And that'll be it, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Nielsen. Finance, Ms. Lowe.
Nothing new from our previous meeting.
Thank you. Under our instruction committee, Mr. Rosanna.
Thank you, Madam President. There is one addition since Thursday night. That would be 9.4, addition of preschool operational plan and professional development addendum. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Doherty.
Thank you. There are no items under negotiation for this evening. And for our policy and legislation, Mr. Rashatar.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanek. There's nothing additional that was not reported on Thursday.
Thank you. Human Resources, Madam Vice President Bush.
Yes, we have one new item today. It's 12.15. I'm just waiting. There we go. 12.15, addition approved, intermittent family leave, Jennifer Maya, primary school 2020-2021 school year. And that is all I have added.
Thank you. For Safety and Risk Management, Mr. Basak.
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing new since Monday evening, since Thursday evening, I'm sorry.
Thank you. For our School Community Relations Report, Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you. There are two press releases for tonight. The first one is the Adopt a Family program. The South River High School Adopt a Family Program Club is requesting donations to help create a positive and memorable holiday for families in need in South River. This year, we will be supplying each family in the program with a gift card instead of wrapped gifts and food due to COVID-19. The program is accepted monetary donations, cash or check, to put toward the gift cards. Any donation is truly appreciated. Check donations should be made payable to the Adopt a Family and mailed to the Adopt a Family Program, South River School District, 15 Montgomery Street. You can also drop off the donations at the same address. And thank you on behalf of the Adopt a Family Program for your generosity and support. Any questions can be directed to Mrs. Napolitano at dnapolitano@southriverNJ or srivernj.org. And the second press release is for the November Student of the Month at the high school. South River High School is proud to honor one student each month as the South River High School Student of the Month. Students are chosen based on their exemplary status as a model student through community service, academic record, modeling the Strive for 5 core ethical values of respect, responsibility, honesty, kindness, and service, and maintaining exemplary behavior and attendance record. Sophia Melendez-Carlock has been selected as our Student of the Month for the month of November due to her impressive academic performance, as well as her commitment to community service and leadership. Sophia's list of community service is evidence of her commitment to the South River community. Sophia volunteers as a tutor at the First Reformed Church. She is an active with the South River Community Garden, serves the needy at the South River Food Bank, helps with the South River High School courtyard renovation, and works with the local librarian to create programs as a member of the South River Public Library Teen Advisory Board. In addition to her community service, Sophia takes on several leadership roles as the president of the South River chapter of the National Honor Society, the co-founder and president of the Hispanic Culture Club, secretary of the Social Studies Honor Society, historian and secretary of the class of 2021, and the secretary of Operation Smile, and the leader in the Take a Step Club. Sophia is an athlete at the South River High School, running track on the varsity track team and playing on the varsity girls soccer team, where she was awarded the Scholar Athlete Award. She's also a member of the Math and Science Honor Society. Sophia works a part-time job tutoring children in math and reading. She takes AP and honor levels classes to prepare for college, and she is bilingual. To say that Sophia is the whole package is an understatement. Congratulations, Sophia. And that's all I have for tonight.
Then you're muted.
Yeah, Mr. Bannock, check your microphone, please.
Yes, yeah, I'm getting like delayed here. I don't know if my internet connection is all that stable. I keep getting the message that it's not. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Nielsen, I am sorry, our School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee.
Nothing to report, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. And our PTA liaison, Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you. There are a couple of fundraisers going on within the schools. At the primary school, they are selling personalized holiday reindeer or elf plushes. And the elementary and middle schools are still selling Gertrude Hawk fundraisers. And all of the ordering information is available either in the ERAM, or if you follow the different PTAs on Facebook, their ordering forms are also on Facebook.
Thank you. South River Public Library Liaison, that would be Mr. Budzen.
Well, the library is still open and active, but we'll find out tomorrow at the meeting if that will continue. Because with the East Brunswick closing, we may be next. That's all I have.
The East Brunswick Library is closed now?
Yep.
Okay, our South River Foundation for Educational Excellence Liaison, Mr. Rashitar.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanic. The only thing that I would add is I followed up on the discussion from Thursday about the executive order from Trenton allowing online raffles. And as I read it, it seems to be limited to those raffles that would be held at football games, et cetera, in stadiums, you know, fundraisers from things like booster clubs, because of the limited attendance at those athletic events, that those organizations can do online raffles. It doesn't seem to apply to an organization like other Foundation for Educational Excellence.
That's a shame.
Mr. Parton, maybe you have a different opinion.
Unfortunately, you're completely correct, Mr. Rashitar. There is proposed legislation which would flex it and apply to things like the Ed Foundation, but it is not law yet. It is, in fact, pretty stalled out right now because there is concern about unlimited online gambling, but they're working on it in Trenton very slowly. So hopefully there will become some more opportunities for foundations like the Ed Foundation to make some money during this crazy time, but not yet.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. And our student board representative, Ms. Almeida.
I have nothing to add tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any old or new business to come before the board?
Yeah, Ms. Urbanic, if I can, I know the board has spoke about this in the past, but I'd like to mention it again and, you know, make it become part of the meeting. As we all know, you know, these are some very difficult times we're going through. This pandemic has affected all of us, and some in more ways than others. But I just want to commend Zurcher, the administration, and the staff for all the changes they had to make to still provide the best education possible for the children in the South River. And I also thank Ms. Zurcher for all her updates, for keeping the board informed all the time, including even on weekends as of lately. I just want to thank Mrs. Zurcher for everything she does for the students and the families of the borough of South River. Thank you.
Well said, Ray.
Well put, Mr. Basak.
Absolutely agreed.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commendable what she and the staff are doing, and you summed it up very nicely. Thank you, Mr. Basak. Mr. Parton, did you have anything else for your attorney's report?
No, nothing since last Thursday's discussions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next item is the payment of the bills. Ms. Lowe.
Thank you. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary be paid as listed, and the bills list is attached. And I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Lowe and second by Vice President Bush. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. At this time, we are once again going to open up the meeting to the public. The public may address any concern or comment that they have for the board at this time. Please state your name and address in the chat section of the virtual meeting, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. And we will pause while we wait if anybody posts.
Yes, we have one so far. Gianna Balzano from 15 Roxbury Lane in Manalapan. So I can, if you'd like me to, I'll unmute her microphone.
How's the cost for the out of
Yes,
district?
thank you.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you state your question again?
How's the cost for the out of district placements increased as compared to last year?
So I'm just going to repeat the question. You're asking if the cost for out-of-district placements have increased between this year and last year, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I think I need a little bit more clarification as to exactly what you're looking for. There are certain tuitions that we pay to out-of-district schools that may have increased. Or are you looking to know if the overall amount that we pay to all of our out-of-district placements as a whole has increased? I need a little more clarification on what you're looking for.
Yeah, the overall amount.
Between this year and last year?
Yeah.
Ken, do you have that accessible to you? It's in our budget for sure.
I would have to get back to you and we can get back to the person. I have no idea off the top of my head.
All right, that's no problem. Thank you.
So, Mr. Balzano, if you could please just provide us with your contact information so we can get back to you with that information.
All right, I'll write it in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Balzano, and you can be assured that Ms. Zurcher will be contacting you before the close of business tomorrow with that information. When it comes to following up and getting back to everyone, she does a phenomenal job. Are there any more people in the chat beside your email address? Great.
Perfect.
No, I don't see anything else at the time.
Okay, so at this time, we will close this public portion. There is nothing for executive session, so a motion for adjournment is in order.
Nielsen,
Wow.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen and by Ms. Lell. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you. This concludes the November 23rd regular meeting of the Board of Education. Thank you very much. See you next month.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.